This video is on how the government doesn't want fast food, or what they call junk food, anymore. For example, in the schools, and I know not just in the schools, but well, let's talk about the schools first. There are requirements about that there has to be certain nutritional value to the food that they serve. They actually, if you have a lunch that's bought at a public school, it cannot contain what would be considered junk food. And what's happening in the schools is that the kids, of course, they don't want to eat that. I mean, they might eat an apple, they might eat a piece of fruit out of there, but everything else, it's just too healthy. There's no taste to it. And so then they won't eat it. And so a lot of times now the kids are having to bring their own lunches. They can't buy the food at the cafeteria because it doesn't taste good. But not only taste, what people don't understand, there's this big health kick and everything about how you got to eat healthy, stay away from the fats and everything. First off, a gram of fat contains 9 calories. A gram of carbohydrate or protein contains 4 calories. Those are the 3 things. A food, the calories is either it's a protein, it's a carbohydrate, or it's a fat. So the fat, you've got little more than double the amount of calories in a gram of fat as opposed to a gram of carbohydrate or protein. The reason that's important is if I eat something that's fat, has a lot of fat in it, that's going to stay with me longer. I'm going to get more calories. Calories, people think, oh, that's bad. Calorie is just a term that it's a measurement of energy when it comes to food. So the more calories I intake, the more energy I can have. Now, of course, if I don't use the calories, then it's converted to fat, and it takes more energy to haul it around with me. But the point is, the more calories I take in, the more energy I have. I mean, you think of kids, they have a high metabolism rate. And they're going to go out and play during recess, and they're going to be running around, and their body is growing, so they need more food. So if I take a meal that is, say, 50% fat, and that's the lunch meal for the kid, and I reduce it down to 30% fat, now I've taken out 20% of the fat. Well, I've taken out at least 20% of the calories, because the fat has more than double the amount of calories, gram of fat, as a protein or a carbohydrate. So same size meal with 20% less fat, it's got, say, I don't know what the percentages come out to, but let's say 30% less calories. So that's 30% less energy that the kids are going to have. So now they can't run around as much, and they can't play, and they can't be a kid. And you're worried, well, what about all this saturated fat and everything? Well, if there's any time where you can enjoy some real fat, butter-laden, enriched food, it's a kid. It's as a kid, because you're going to burn it off. As you get older, if you got a desk job, you're not running around so much, well, then you can, maybe you want to stay away from some of that. But as a kid, you don't have to worry about that stuff. You don't have to worry about eating too much chocolate or eating too much fat and something, because you're just going to burn it off. Mm-hmm. But if you've got a real healthy sort of meal there, well, now there's less calories in it. So now you got to eat more of it. So you got to buy more food. So it's going to cost you more. And if you can't get all that food and you just have a predefined meal like with the kids, well, they may end up passing out on the playground. They don't have the energy that they once had. And it's not from lack of exercise. It's because you haven't given them the energy they need, because you've taken it away with the calories in the food. Another thing that they've done is with vending machines, and this just isn't in schools, but this is a regulation, I believe, I think it's a federal regulation, and I forget the percentage, but they've really put people who operate vending machines, some of them, out of business, because now the requirement is you can have only a certain percentage, it's a low percentage, of all of the foods that are in a vending machine can be considered junk food. Let's say it's 40%, I don't know, but let's say it's 40%. So you can have 40% of the candy bars and the chips, but then the 60% has to be maybe granola bars and fruit or whatever it is. So now it's harder for the vending machine operators to operate, because people, when they go to the vending machine, want, especially you're at work, you're working 12-hour shift, you need some calories. You need to keep going. You need to keep energy going. So you buy
something sweet.
You buy the Reese's peanut butter cup. You don't want the apple, because there's a lot more calories in the little Reese's than there is in the apple. You also don't have time to eat the apple because you got to keep working. And you're only going to get 80 calories out of a medium apple versus a couple hundred calories in those Reese's peanut butter cups. And so if you don't have the Reese's peanut butter cups because the government says you got to have healthy food in there, well, then you don't buy it. So then you don't buy it. The person who has the vending machine and stocked it with this stuff, he's constantly throwing away 60% of his inventory, and only 40% gets bought up. So that's a greater cost. Now he's losing money, so now he stops having the vending machines. And a lot of this push about healthy and everything, first off, people change it all the time. They'll say, well, you need a high carbohydrate diet. Then they'll say, oh, you need a high protein diet. Well, then they'll say, well, you got to have low fat. Well, then they'll say, you got to have 30% fat. And they keep changing these percentages around. All it is just a money-making scheme. Really, it all comes down to calories. And people say, well, we got to avoid the meats. We want to be vegetarian. Well, there are things in meat that you can't find in vegetables. For example, vitamin B12 is not found in any meat. Now, your body can store about 2 to 3 years' supply, but if you become a vegetarian and you don't eat any meat whatsoever, and you don't take any vitamin B12 supplements, you will end up eventually dying in a matter of several years, because your body needs B12. And there are other things as well, minerals and vitamins that are found in meat that's not found in vegetables. Your body needs a variety of stuff. And you say, well, I could get fat, I shouldn't have high fat because I'll get fat over it. That's not true. Now, it's true there's more energy in there, more calories in the fat, but if you just eat less of it, if you just still eat 500 calories, if you eat 500 calories that's pure fat, it's still the same amount of energy for your body as if you eat 500 calories that's pure carbohydrates or pure protein. Either way, it's the measurement of 500 calories of energy that you have. And so there's this push to go away from fast food and eat healthy and go away from vending machines and getting rid of junk food. But all that is the reason they go against fat is because since there's, say, 250 calories in the Reese's peanut butter cups, but there's only 80 calories in the apple, they can sell 3 apples to 1 Reese's peanut butter cup. So they want to get you away from the fat, because there's more energy in the fat, which means you have to eat less, which means you buy less food. So they want you to buy healthy food because you got to buy more of it. And then it doesn't give you energy for that long. 2 hours later, you're hungry again. Well, then you got to get more food.
Like eating Chinese food.
Yeah, you eat the Chinese food if it's just rice and some chicken. It's very low fat. And they say, well, that's healthy for you. Well, that's healthy as long as you don't spend more energy than what you just put in, because then you end up passing out because you didn't have enough food go in you. Then you got to go buy another helping of Chinese food. That's more money for them. Whereas if you buy a big, fat, juicy hamburger from Hardee's and you eat that thing, you don't have to eat for another 6 hours. So then they don't get the money from you buying something else. Whereas if you just go get a rice cake and you eat that thing, you're eating again in 30 minutes. Why not just eat the styrofoam that came in that box from Amazon? Is the same thing. And so the point is, they get more money if you eat healthy because there's less energy in the healthy foods.
Well, they also, Michelle Obama has been pushing for everybody to eat healthy, just eat healthy. And it reminds me of when I was growing up, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was pushing, exercise. I can't do his accent, but anyway.
No, I can't either.
But anyway, he was pushing exercise. And she's pushing, eat more vegetables and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, you still need meat. So because she's pushing more vegetables, fast food also is, they're trying to wean kids off of fast food. And the way to do that is, this is me. I'm a conspiracy theorist. We'll go with this. What if we raise the minimum wage to $15? And McDonald's will not pay that. They can't afford to pay that. So what happens to these fast food places?
They close down.
They close down. So besides, they want you to eat vegetables. Nothing wrong with that. They're trying to get rid of the fast food companies by raising the minimum wage because they know they can't afford that. But also, they're trying to get rid of fast food companies by getting rid of the cattlemen, the cows, the chickens. Pretty soon, Chick-fil-A is going to be gone soon because they're getting rid of real food. Fast food is there because, hey, kids want fast food. It's greasy, it tastes good. Well, we need to change them so they can live longer. Well, have you ever thought of they might live longer if they had a little grease to, as they say, let me put it to you this way. You see an old car and you get inside of it and it has dust all over the dashboard and people say, oh, clean your car, get the dust off of there. You ever heard the expression, that's what's holding the car together? Same with fast food. Some people are just held together really good with fast food. And like he said, kids run better and they burn it off when they have fast food, greasy food. They run it off. I was pencil thin when I was a kid because I was constantly playing soccer. I was playing volleyball, kickball, whatever the case may be it was. I was outside. I was skinny. I burned that booger off. But now that I'm older, sure, it sticks to me. But by gosh, if you tell me I can't have fast food, but yet I have the right and control over my body to have an abortion, I have control and right over my body to have an abortion, but you're telling me I don't have the right and control over my body to eat whatever I want. I think there's a little contradiction here. So don't be telling me what I can and cannot eat. I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat. The thing is, remember, women have control over their bodies to have an abortion, so I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat.
Yeah, they're trying to regulate. I know even in the last few years, now I have to take annual physicals in order to keep my health insurance, and then they have their standards that they set. You can look at me right now. I mean, where I am on the scale is I'm considered overweight, almost severely overweight, and the scale of these physical exams. And they say everything's high and I might risk for this or that. What they're trying to do is they're trying to control people, put them in their standards, make them to be what they want them to be. What they don't understand is God made these bodies, and the reason you end up storing more fat as you get older is because more things can go wrong with you. You're more likely to have some major medical condition, and then your body needs to rely upon those fat stores to build itself back up again. It's part of the immune system that God designed within the body to have the fat stores there, and so it's important to have it. And yet they're trying to make everybody anorexic through these annual exams, and again try to control you, make you go to the doctor, take this prescription, take this drug, and they get all this money from that. And also, as it hurts the kids, as we mentioned about how they have less energy, everybody has such a great emphasis on education, making the kids smart and everything. Research has shown that kids that skip breakfast do poorly in the morning at schools because they're so hungry. Well, think about a kid who now eats a healthy lunch because that's what the cafeteria serves, as opposed to an unhealthy lunch. And now they have fewer calories, as I mentioned, maybe 30% less calories. Well, especially like teenage boys, I mean, they're eating every 2 hours because they're growing, their voice is changing, they're growing taller, their muscles are getting bigger. They need more calories. And now here they are sitting in their science class or in their math class as a junior or senior in high school in the afternoon, and they're starving and they can't concentrate on what's being taught because they're so hungry because they didn't get as much calories for lunch as before. And so now you need those scientists and those engineers and those math guys to go out and make new inventions and keep the economy flowing. And they didn't learn what they were supposed to learn because you didn't give them enough food to have the energy to concentrate during the class. So, you know, just another factor. There's all these things that are related that people don't even think about, but they're concerned about the reason they want to get rid of fast food. As I mentioned, you know, fat, because it has more calories in it, is cheaper, and the fast foods are cheaper than the expensive restaurants. So if they get rid of the fast food, now you got to pay more for your food. No one's trying to get Ruth's Chris out of business, even though they'll charge $150 for a steak, because they want you to spend your money. You know, they want your money. So regulate the cheap ones and get them out and keep the expensive ones around.